You wake with 1 foot in black water. It is warm enough to feel almost harmless. That is your first mistake. The bottom is invisible beneath suspended mud, and every step pulls at your ankle as if the swamp would prefer to keep it. Around you, ribbed trunks rise like pillars. Their crowns vanish into a ceiling of spore-bearing foliage. There are no birds calling above you, no grass beneath you, and nothing that looks comfortably edible. Then a shadow crosses the water, not overhead, under it. For this survival test, we are not visiting the entire Carboniferous, a period that lasted roughly from 359 to 299 million years ago. That would be like asking how to survive the modern world without specifying whether you mean the Amazon, Antarctica, or the open ocean. We will arrive around 305 million years ago in a tropical wetland near the equator, somewhere in the region that will one day become Western Europe. It is the late Carboniferous, the classic world of coal forests, giant arthropods, early land vertebrates, and ground that cannot decide whether it is land at all. Your first rule is simple: leave the water, do not run. Running sounds efficient until the mud removes a shoe you cannot replace. Test each step. Use fallen vegetation for support and move toward any patch of ground that sits visibly above the surrounding water. Riverbanks, natural levees, root mounds, and recently deposited sediment would give you better odds than the open mire. The largest predator in sight may be impressive, but a twisted ankle in a flooded forest is far more committed to ruining your day. The water is dangerous for another reason. Carboniferous wetlands supported fish, aquatic invertebrates, and many tetrapods still closely tied to water. Some of those animals were predators, and the boundary between the forest floor and the aquatic habitat could be crowded with life. You are much larger than most of their normal prey, but stepping into opaque water beside an unfamiliar carnivore is not a scientific experiment worth completing. Fossil sites from the Pennsylvanian preserve whole communities of terrestrial and aquatic animals, showing just how thoroughly these habitats overlapped. Now breathe. The good news is that you can. The popular claim that a modern human would immediately suffocate in the Carboniferous is not supported. Reconstructions of atmospheric oxygen vary, but many place oxygen at or above modern levels during parts of the period, with some models suggesting substantially higher concentrations later on. That does not make you stronger, faster, or mysteriously refreshed. Human performance is not upgraded merely because the air contains more oxygen. It does change fire. Fossil charcoal shows that wildfires occurred in Carboniferous ecosystems, including environments wet enough to form peat. Higher oxygen would have allowed plant material to ignite and burn more readily than it does today. So if you smell smoke, see falling ash, or notice the sky changing color, do not assume the surrounding swamp will protect you. Move across the wind, seek already wet and sparsely vegetated ground, and avoid becoming trapped among dense stands of upright plants. Your phone is useless. Your knowledge of wind is not. A heavy flutter passes above the vegetation. The animal looks like a dragonfly enlarged by an unreliable memory. Griffin flies of the late Carboniferous included forms with wingspans approaching 70 centimeters. They were aerial predators, but their prey consisted mainly of other arthropods. You are not an appropriate target. Do not waste energy swinging at it, and do not assume every oversized insect is a monster designed around you. It has never seen a mammal. You are not on its menu because its menu has no category for you. Then the vegetation beside you begins to move in a line. An armored body longer than you are tall pushes through the litter on dozens of legs. This is Arthropleura, the largest known land arthropod. Fossils and trackways indicate that the biggest individuals exceeded 2 meters in length. Recent fossils preserving the head show an animal combining millipede-like and centipede-like features. Its overall anatomy supports a detritus-feeding lifestyle, but its exact diet remains uncertain because direct gut contents are still missing. That uncertainty matters. Do not approach it for food. Do not poke it to discover whether it bites. Step aside and allow it an escape route. It is probably less interested in you than you are in it, which is excellent news for both parties. Your next problem is food, and the correct solution is to delay solving it. The forest contains giant lycopsids, horsetail relatives, ferns, tree ferns, and seed plants, unlike the flowering vegetation that supplies most familiar human foods. These ecosystems produced enormous quantities of plant matter, much of which accumulated as peat and later became coal. Abundance, however, is not the same as edibility. You do not know which tissues contain irritating chemicals, which spores may harm you, or whether your digestive system can extract useful energy from them. For the first day, eat nothing unless you arrived with supplies. Missing a meal is safer than experimenting with an organism separated from you by more than 300 million years of evolution. Do not chew a strange fern because it looks soft. Do not eat an arthropod raw because the documentary version of you is feeling adventurous. Deep time does not reward confidence without information. Water is more urgent, but the swamp itself is the worst available container. Avoid still, sediment-filled pools. Your best option is fresh rain caught directly in a clean natural depression on a broad surface, or in any container you actually brought with you. If rain does not come, moving water may be preferable to a stagnant pool, but neither can be declared safe. Without a vessel, controlled fire, and a reliable way to boil water, every drink is a calculated risk. By late afternoon, you need somewhere to spend the night. Choose elevated, relatively open ground with more than one escape route. Stay away from the edge of deep channels. Do not sleep directly beneath unstable dead vegetation, and resist the temptation to crawl inside a hollow trunk. Fossil trees at sites such as Joggins have preserved early tetrapods inside their once hollow bases. Researchers have debated whether those animals fell in, sheltered there, or were carried in after death. But the fossils prove that hollow trunks were part of the habitat and could collect animals and sediment. A Carboniferous tree hole may be shelter. It may also be a pit with excellent long-term preservation potential. Do not build a large fire unless you possess controlled ignition, a cleared surface, and a genuine need for heat. In this warm wetland, fire is more useful for treating water and discouraging small animals than for preventing hypothermia. But with oxygen potentially elevated and dry plant debris capable of burning, one careless flame could turn your shelter into the center of the emergency. As darkness arrives, the forest does not become silent. Wings strike vegetation. Small bodies move through litter. Water shifts beyond the edge of your dry patch. The safest response is not to investigate every sound. Conserve energy, protect your eyes and feet. Keep any wound covered and away from swamp water. Remain above flood level. And if rain begins, watch whether the water line rises. A place that was dry at sunset may become a channel before morning. So how long would you survive? With no equipment and poor luck, perhaps only hours. A fall, a deep water encounter, a fast flood, heat stress, smoke, or one reckless drink could end the experiment. With calm decisions, elevated ground, fresh rainwater, and no major injury, surviving a day is plausible. Several days may be possible under favorable conditions. Beyond that, the lack of reliably safe water, recognizable food, medical care, and secure shelter would steadily reduce your chances. The giant griffin fly is not what defeats you. Arthropleura is probably not what defeats you. Even the large aquatic predators can be avoided if you respect the water. The Carboniferous kills the modern visitor by removing the invisible systems that normally keep us alive. Purified water, known food, dry shelter, navigation, medicine, and generations of local knowledge. To survive, you do not need to conquer the coal forest. You need to stop treating it like a strange version of home. It is not home, and the swamp only needs you to forget that once.